Laura, a visionary film producer, selects an outfit from her wardrobe, finally choosing a dress and removing its tag. She puts on her watch, applies makeup, and heads to work. At the office, a film director discusses a movie idea with her. The concept revolves around population growth, where no one dies of natural causes, and the population doubles in 10 years. An algorithm records people's lifestyles, influencing survival and balance. Laura listens attentively, aware that many directors approach her with different perspectives. As she takes notes, her assistant, Christian, sits beside her. Intrigued, she responds with encouraging words and assures them she will follow up with a call. Later, Laura and her husband, Tony, discuss the film idea. Tony shares his own idea, a love story. However, their conversation shifts to personal matters. As he explains the plot, Laura realizes he is subtly referring to their own story. When she asks how the story ends, Tony tells her it has a happy ending. The woman stays where she is, stops taking her daughter to London, and finally lives her life peacefully. Laura smiles and tells him the story is cute. As Laura and Christian prepare to leave, Tony pleads with her to stay, reminding her of the life they have in Barcelona. Laura, however, replies that their life in Barcelona is not enough for her. She wants to live extraordinarily. She explains that she is trying to create something meaningful for their daughter, Anna, rather than settling for the mediocre life Tony envisions. Tony then brings up Anna's upcoming birthday cake, but they fail to reach an agreement and part ways in frustration. As they argue, Tony speaks to her harshly. While in the elevator, Laura and Tony talk about Anna's birthday, and Laura instructs him to buy a cake and flowers for the occasion. At a film celebration event, Laura meets an actor and they discuss the occasion. The venue is filled with people admiring the actors. The actor suggests that Alba speak about the movie. Laura congratulates Alba on the opportunity, and as Alba walks to the front to speak, she asks Laura about the film. Laura briefly explains what happened, and Alba praises her efforts. They smile at each other before Alba takes the stage, receiving overwhelming applause. Later, Laura and Tony are in a car heading to the airport, seated in the back. Laura is on a video call with her husband, who had planned to travel with Anna but is unable to do so due to a flight delay. Upon arriving at the airport, they proceed to the business class section, but the cabin crew does not find Tony's name on the passenger list. Laura insists that he is with her, but the crew refuses to let him board. Tony reassures Laura that she can handle things on her own and leaves. Laura boards the plane alone and is served a drink. Seated on the plane, Laura is joined by another passenger, who also receives a drink and sits in front of her. They engage in a long conversation. Laura and her husband celebrate Anna's birthday virtually, joining a video call while traveling to different destinations. However, Anna is disappointed and ends the call before they even get to see her. Both Laura and her husband are confused and begin discussing their own unresolved issues. During the flight, Laura goes to the restroom, washes her hands, applies lotion, and returns to her seat. She notices that the passenger she spoke to earlier has fallen asleep, his teeth glimmering under the light. Upon arrival, Laura steps outside into the icy landscape, only to find that all the cars have left. One person remains, waiting for her with an ice transport vehicle. He greets her, hands her a fur jacket, and they leave together. As they depart, a park illuminated with lights comes into view. When they reach their destination, Laura notices that many people are dressed in fur clothing due to the freezing temperature. They greet Laura warmly. Sebastian Snail Sr. speaks about the village, then uses a saw to cut into the ground while sharing an inspirational message. Finally, he drops the saw, marking a symbolic moment. The group moves into a room where drinks are served. Standing on the balcony, Sebastian Snail Sr. presents his ideas, and everyone listens attentively. The man who picked Laura up from the airport hands her a pen, and she signs a document. He then congratulates her. That night, Laura steps outside without her fur jacket and smokes a cigarette. Sebastian Snail Sr. approaches her, gives her a book, and tells her they have to do it. He asks her to read the book and pass it on. As Sebastian Snail Sr. is leaving, he turns back and asks Laura about her daughter. Laura opens up about Anna, saying she is 16 and is claimed to have seen an evil spirit. On a plane, Laura and Yi are seated across from each other. Yi is speaking on his phone in another language. After hanging up, Yi and Laura talk about the book Sebastian Snail Sr. gave her, which he also owns. The book is about the refugi. Laura tries to reach Anna, but her phone is not responding, and it keeps saying, "Leave a message." She calls Tony to ask about Anna, but he is annoyed and asks why she is calling in the middle of the night. He reassures her that Anna is with her friend and that she shouldn't worry. While searching on her laptop, Laura comes across news about a worldwide epidemic that is spreading rapidly. When Laura reaches her place and meets Christian, she asks him about the epidemic she saw online and whether she is considered rich, as the epidemic is mainly affecting the wealthy. He tells her not to worry and congratulates her on the opportunity she got by signing a contract with Sebastian Snail Sr. At a bidding hall, an artwork is up for auction, with people raising their numbers to win the bid. The purpose is to help refugees. Laura enters the room and starts bidding as well. The price keeps rising. Anna calls Laura during the auction, causing a disturbance in the room. Laura answers but struggles to hear Anna. In a moment of distraction, she accidentally bids $2 million just to step away and take the call. The host announces that Laura has won the artwork for $2 million, shocking everyone in the room. After leaving, Laura finally talks to Anna, mentioning how much she just spent on the artwork, but she still doesn't fully hear what Anna wants to say. As Laura is on the phone, she sees someone whose teeth shine unnaturally white. There is a sudden noise and chaos, which surprises her. Anna keeps speaking, but Laura cannot hear her properly. Reporters start covering the epidemic, with various speculations. Some suggest it is a terrorist act that only affects the rich, while others claim it is a virus. The people affected so far are all billionaires and millionaires. Laura's phone rings again. It's Anna, but when she answers, it turns out to be her mother, Martha. Laura asks what she is doing, and Martha tells her that Anna is with her and that everything is fine. Laura becomes worried and asks why Anna is with her, but Martha reassures her. Martha also tells Laura that since she and Tony haven't finalized their divorce, Anna has not been caught in the middle and advises her to resolve the issue. Laura calls Tony, who confirms that he is with her mother, Martha. Laura is surprised and decides to go to Barcelona to see her family. She tells Christian to book her a flight. Later, Laura meets an actor who is playing the guitar in a room, along with his assistant. She asks him what happened, but he is upset, saying he hasn't worked since then. He sarcastically congratulates her on her new opportunity before angrily throwing things around the room. His assistant picks them up. Laura then notices his teeth. They have turned unnaturally white and are shining. She is shocked and stressed, then leaves the room. Christian informs Laura that, due to the crisis, there are no flights. Laura asks him to find any possible transportation, a private jet to get her to Barcelona. While trying to find a way home, Laura video calls an auctioneer, asking him to check her stock. The driver overhears and asks if she is rich. Laura responds with a forced laugh, saying she would love to be rich, but she is just talking to her boss. The auctioneer returns with information. Laura now owns a huge amount of money due to the contract she signed with Sebastian Snail Sr. The driver, now suspicious, puts on a mask. When Laura arrives home, she checks her teeth in the mirror to see if they have changed, but they haven't. She gathers all her money, puts it in a bag, and makes a phone call to figure out how to reduce her assets. There is a knock at Laura's door. She is extremely stressed. When she opens it, security personnel stand there, fully equipped with masks and guns. They tell her they are there to help her. Laura, pretending to be relieved, says she is happy to go with them, but first, she needs to pack her things. She closes the door, then sneaks out through the window with her bag, leaving the security behind. Laura reaches a private jet where she meets Christian. He tells her everything is ready for her departure. She thanks him. Many passengers are already waiting, arguing among themselves. One passenger has a cat, and another person complains about animals on board, saying the epidemic spreads through them. A fight breaks out, and someone snatches the cat and throws it away, causing chaos. Laura doesn't have much time to thank Christian properly. She asks him for one last favor. Her divorce from Tony is not settled. She wants to give her assets to Christian. Christian looks confused. Laura hands him the contract, but he steps back. She repeatedly calls his name, but he doesn't respond. The passengers board the jet, and at first, the departure is rough. Once in the air, tensions rise as passengers continue arguing. Suddenly, the man who threw the cat starts showing symptoms. His teeth turn unnaturally white and start shining. Everyone backs away from him in fear. A girl screams. Meanwhile, the jet's door opens as two passengers fight. Despite the captain's orders to close it, they fall out midair. Laura watches the news on her phone during the flight. Reports confirm that the epidemic is only affecting the rich. In response, there has been widespread destruction of property. A reporter refers to the crisis as rich flu. At night, the jet lands at the airport. The surroundings are eerily silent, with occasional explosions. Laura hides. She tries calling Sebastian Snail Sr., but his phone is unreachable. She searches for him online and finds a danger sign next to his name. On the back of the book he gave her, there is a quote by Henry David Thoreau emphasizing that true wealth is not in material possessions but in the ability to live simply. In frustration, Laura throws the book away. She hears a car. It is Tony. She quickly gets in. As they drive, Tony tells her the city has become chaotic. Laura sanitizes her hands. They reach a police checkpoint, the third one Tony has passed. Hearing this, Laura starts checking her bag nervously. Tony asks what she is doing, then notices the large amount of money she packed. Both of them become tense. The police order them out of the car and check them with machines, measuring their temperature and inspecting their teeth. Just as they are about to check the car, another vehicle speeds through the checkpoint, crashing into a police car. The officers become distracted, allowing Laura and Tony to drive away. While in the car, Laura checks her phone and sees that more properties are being destroyed. The rich have begun detonating their own assets to protect themselves. Suddenly, her internet stops working. Laura and Tony arrived in Martha's village, where many people stared at them. When Laura reached her mother's house, she saw Anna playing in the mud with a friend, wearing a t-shirt that said Rich Glitch. Annoyed, Laura rushed inside, where Martha was painting. Without turning, Martha asked Laura to pass the ink and inquired about her flight. Laura confronted Martha about her influence on Anna, accusing her of spreading hate toward the rich. Martha defended herself, stating that wealth inequality had caused suffering, and in their village, people survived without money. Later, Laura and Tony visited a refugee camp, where Anna was serving food. Pablo, an old acquaintance, approached Laura, noting that she had changed her name but still wore her expensive watch. That night, Laura told Tony she was transferring her wealth to Christian, her assistant. Shocked, Tony urged her to forget about it, but Pablo warned that the villagers knew she was rich and advised her to leave. Soon, an angry crowd gathered, demanding Laura's departure. Laura, Anna, Tony, and Martha fled the village by boat, heading toward Tanzania. Days passed at sea, and one night, they rescued a young girl stranded in the water. When soldiers found them, they were taken to a refugee camp, where they struggled for food and shelter. Laura revealed she had donated money to refugees, but officials showed no special treatment. In the camp, Laura met a masked man named Yi, whose teeth shone unnaturally white. That night, she discovered Tony had secretly signed the contract to transfer her wealth. Heartbroken, Laura blamed herself, but Tony reassured her that she was only trying to help. Suddenly, 2 refugees kidnapped Anna, injuring Martha. Laura and Tony chased them down, killing them in the struggle. Tony was stabbed, but Laura managed to save him. The next day, they built a boat and set sail. As they neared a city, a ship attacked them, forcing them into the water. In the chaos, Laura was separated from the others. Laura washed ashore and was helped by locals. Disguising herself in Muslim clothing, she evaded soldiers and reunited with Anna and the young girl, learning that Martha had died. They traveled by car to another refugee settlement, where they were welcomed. Laura adjusted, crafting objects. One night, she met a woman who had taken her watch. Laura showed her a crafted item, piquing the woman's curiosity. As the woman reached for more, Laura smiled and pointed at the watch, subtly asking for its return.